broadcasting around the world. This is the Hard Asset Money Show. Your wealth, your money, your future. Serious talk about what's happening and how you profit. Hosted by Christian Briggs. Follow him on X at BMC_HAM in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome here.
Thank you, brother.
Mr. Christopher Walker.
Yes.
And it's your birthday today.
It is my birthday today.
We're back on the Hard Asset Money Show with one of my esteemed colleagues and friends.
Yeah.
And today's show, we're going to talk politics and economics. Imagine that.
I love it.
But we're going to talk a lot about what has been going on here locally as well as internationally, and how these tariffs working out. How's the shutdown working out? So we're going to talk all about that today on today's show. So we'll be back in 60 seconds. Don't go away. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to share. And I am excited to talk a lot about the success that the current administration is having in a lot of areas as well. Even though the shutdown is scaring a few people, even though the tariffs are a little scary sometimes, there's still so much good things going on right now.
That's right.
So we'll be back in 60 seconds. Christian Briggs, Hard Asset Money Show. Thank you. And this will be a good one.
This podcast is brought to you by Hard Asset Management. We have the lowest prices on all precious metals. Call us at 844-426-4653. That's 844-426-4653.
All right, welcome back. We're here with Christopher Walker. Yeah, you're a famous man.
I am not.
In the
but
acting
thank you.
business.
That's I could do my Christopher Walken. That's just wrong. It's wrong. It's terrible. But it's a bad impersonation. But one of our favorite skits when we were in high school was the Continental that he did on Saturday Night Live.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the come back.
Mm-hmm.
We love Christopher Walken.
He's a
awesome.
New Yorker guy.
He is.
Yeah. I met him at a going to Europe once about 20 years ago in a American Airlines, like what do you call those little...
The lounges.
Yeah, the lounges.
Yeah.
And he was there waiting to go on another flight, and he walked by me, and I was getting up to get something, and he was talking, and I told him, I said, I loved you in the James Bond movie. And he was like, oh, great. I was a psychopath then. And I said, in reality or just playing that? He says, I don't know, maybe both sometimes. But a super nice guy.
A View to a Kill.
A View to a
1985,
Kill.
I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Grace Kelly.
That's right.
I'm not Grace Kelly, Grace Jones.
Yes, Grace Jones.
Grace Jones, yes.
Yep.
Good
Roger
film.
Moore's last one. Because then Timothy Dalton was on after him.
That's right.
So Timothy Dalton did Living Daylights in 87. Mm-hmm. So that was Roger Moore's last with Christopher Walken.
One.
Yeah. He was a tech villain.
He was a tech villain.
They were ahead of their time.
Chips.
Silicon Valley chips. That's right.
He was like the Intel guy.
That's right.
He was going to corner the market and sink Silicon Valley by destroying all those water reservoirs or something like that.
Yep.
San Andreas Fault or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was I think it was the first Bond that I remember watching as a kid. Yeah. Actually the first one I saw was Living Daylights with Timothy Dalton, and then I went back and saw View to a Kill like on VHS.
Yeah.
So
VHS.
Yeah.
Lewis, you're too young for that, aren't you? Okay, I thought so. Well, you're 60, aren't you? What are you talking about? You know what 8-tracks are. So let's talk a little bit about who you are. Who are you?
Who am I?
And go deep.
I'll
Give us the tea. Give us the tea.
I'll do an Admiral Stockdale. Who am I? Why am I here?
Right.
I was born in Miami, Florida. So, grew up down there, and Hurricane Andrew came in '92 and tore up our house. And my mom, my stepdad we were down there and basically lived on a canal, and so we had like 3 feet of water in our house, and basically became very difficult for us to rebuild. So we moved to Knoxville, Tennessee my freshman year of high school and went to Knoxville, Bearden High School, and then UT, graduated from UT, and went to go work in Washington. My first job on the Hill was with Fred Thompson.
Oh, Law and Order himself.
Law and Order, Hunt for Red October, Die Hard 2.
Yeah, great guy.
Great guy. Miss him every day.
Yeah.
We miss his voice, and I'd love to see how he thinks about the current climate. He saw around corners better than anyone. And I was his personal aide and driver for a long time. I was actually his driver on 9/11. And so I remember taking him to the Capitol, and the second plane hadn't hit the second tower yet, but we'd already heard reports on the news of a plane that hit the World Trade Center. And Fred, I dropped him off at the corner of the Dirksen building, and he kind of looked at me and said, what do you think? I go, well, this sounds like a terrible accident. I'll never forget. He looked me straight in the eye and said, this is no accident. Closed the door and walked away, and I was like, whoa. And sure enough, then the second plane hit like 5 minutes later. And just, that was just kind of the man he was. He knew how to really kind of see around corners. So that was a lot of my formative time. A lot of people learned a lot in college. I learned a lot with Fred Thompson. And so I worked in the Senate with him and really just understood more. I was always a conservative, but I understood what it meant to be a conservative working for him.
What does that mean?
Compared
to somebody else.
Limited government, free market capitalism, the ability for people to make individual liberty decisions, getting the government out of the way, not being the solution to, but the cause of most problems. And so, Fred was a true advocate of that. He was a Buckleyite and a Howard Baker Republican in every possible way, and I learned so much from him. Stayed in Washington. I worked in the Bush administration, worked on George W. Bush's reelection in 2004, and then worked at the Treasury Department in 2005 and 2006. And so I loved it. It was one of my most fun jobs I ever had.
Do we need a Treasury Department, like an education department, or can we all just do it with one?
Well, Trump's canceling, 1,500 positions today, I read. So I think the Treasury was certainly a bureaucratic institution, but not as bad as the Pentagon. I actually worked at the Pentagon for about 6 months too, and that building is in desperate need of an audit, and it can't pass one.
It will never pass one.
It will never pass one. Treasury has its place. I think Bissent's doing a great job. I worked there with Secretary Snow, and he was actually one of the only Treasury secretaries with a PhD in economics, and that was kind of an undertold story about him. But he was a great, smart guy. He was CEO of CSX Railway before he took over at Treasury, and now I think he's still at Cerberus Capital.
Cerberus,
big and
big firm.
He was a great guy too, and I was fortunate to be with a lot of really solid leaders. Although, when I worked for Treasury, Secretary Snow retired, and then I worked for Fred retired, and then I worked for Donald Rumsfeld at DOD, and he retired. So everyone kind of thought I was the Black Widow of politics for a little while. If I came work for you, you would be retiring within 6 months. Met my wife in D.C. We moved to Nashville, and I've kind of stayed active in political stuff throughout campaigns and public affairs campaign work. And here in the state, got on the Bill Lee train early. I was the second hire on his campaign when we had no shot in the world. And I like to say we were fourth in a 3-person race. And, we just kind of stuck to our guns and, ran an issues-based campaign and had enough. We realized, too, part of politics is just likability. And Bill's just one of the most likable people you'll ever meet in politics. And so we knew we had a shot, and he won. And so everyone thought we were geniuses. I promise you I'm not. But it was a good fortune opportunity to kind of be a part of his campaign and his early administration. And so I've been staying active in politics and business here in Nashville throughout. That's how we got to meet.
So that's exactly right. And I ask you this, how do you compare today to politics of 15, 20 years ago? Especially working with Fred.
It's more acrimonious now.
Okay.
Expand
on that.
I think, everything was partisan, but it wasn't complete partisanship. There were still opportunities to work together. One of Fred's best friends was Joe Lieberman. There was an opportunity. If there was an opportunity to find a bipartisan bill, they'd try to work on it. Now it feels like you kind of have to wear a red jersey or a blue jersey, and that's really kind of it. And I don't think it was certainly partisan back then. I don't want to say the good old days were better. They weren't. But it seems like cable news has become such a prominent player in the process. I think that's a big part of it. Also, we didn't have social media when it started, and that came online in the middle of my time in Congress, and everything switched from kind of press releases to tweets. And I remember being a comms director for Richard Burr from North Carolina, and all the Senate comms directors had a class on how to tweet. And it was about brevity and about quick bites and not taking a long time to make your case. And so everything got condensed. And I think in the process of that, it turned into a less thoughtful time. Everything became quicker and faster and more acerbic. And so I think in a way that's kind of what we're seeing now. I think there's still opportunities for bipartisan consensus, but we're seeing a pretty long shutdown now just based on the fact that people are trying to score some wins online. And I just, but there were shutdowns back then too. Let's not sugarcoat it. And there were certainly partisan fights. I remember when Tom Daschle was the Senate leader, and it's the first kind of partisan speech after 9/11. He came on the Senate floor and attacked George W. Bush for something, and we were kind of like, okay, well, we're back to normal now. There's just too much money and incentive to kind of have two teams on that, and so it's I don't fault it. It's the system we have, and so I wouldn't say that it was partisan or apolitical back then, but it felt a little less than it does now. I think the president now is doing what he thinks is right, and the entire left and the Democrats cannot be with him on what he's doing. I mean, even look at what we did with Israel, this week, and it's like, here's a tremendous victory for him and the world, and half the people just don't even want to, they still want to have some reaction. Yeah. And, that's not healthy. At some point, we've got to find ways to not necessarily hate our neighbors so completely. And I feel like that's something that's kind of happened in the last 15 years.
Hate thy neighbors. Yeah, that seems to be the new focal point. How much damage can I put on you? It seems to be kind of the norm.
Yeah. Yeah.
It isn't about let's reconcile, let's reseal a deal and come to terms. And I wonder how long this, for lack of a better definition, this peace deal with Hamas and all of those, I'm going to say terrorist organizations, because it is. Hamas is not funded by itself. It's funded by
Qatar, Iran,
countries.
Yep.
So the question is when do they get anxious again for another?
Well, you and I both study history. You and I both study the Bible. I think we both know that is an area of the world that's always going to see conflict. And while I'm grateful for the president's leadership on this now and solving the Gaza crisis now, I think and Israel is smart enough to know that, just wait a couple of years and something else will happen. I remember in 2000 when President Clinton and Ehud Barak and Yasser Arafat tried to meet consistently, and Yasser Arafat told them all to go to hell. There's an intrinsic conflict there that just is millennial. It's Isaac and Ishmael, and it's
a biblical conflict.
It's a biblical conflict.
It's like no peace in the Middle East. God said there will be that you will know no peace.
Right.
And as much as I love the Abrams Accord,
and
as much as I love this, and I do, it's almost kind of like a short term. It always is short term. What lasting treaty or ceasefire or just general respect for each other has ever lasted more than a couple months, 6 months maybe?
Yeah, I mean, the Abraham Accords have lasted, though. I mean, Jared Kushner, hats off to him. I mean, I don't know him. You and I probably have some friends here in town that do work with him and know him, but what he did in the first Trump term was incredible in terms of getting majority Muslim countries connecting to and doing business with Israel. That was incredible. Rand Paul likes to say, and I think he's quoting someone else. I'm quoting Rand Paul, quoting someone else, but basically, if goods don't cross borders, soldiers will. And using economic tools to broker peace is a strong motivator. And that's right. And so I think what we saw with the Abraham Accords is right. I think what the president has done, bringing so many of these Muslim countries together. I don't like that term Muslim countries. There's got to be a better way to say it. But either way,
they're Middle East Muslim countries,
right?
By definition,
hostile countries to Israel are coming to the table in a way that they weren't before. I don't think Hamas would have expected that 2 years ago when they attacked Israel. But now you're seeing people coming together on that, and it's fascinating. It's great to see. I mean, and the president, thank God he's there. I mean, the leadership that he's shown on this is remarkable. And I do think that Biden wouldn't have been able to do that. Joe Biden, Barack Obama wasn't able to do that. And so,
Barack Obama could never do that.
There's some respect there of the strength of what he presents that I think is really unique to the moment that's led to this.
Agreed.
So,
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Barack was always a divider. He wanted Iran to have some type of edge over everybody in the Middle East, certainly the Saudis. I don't know if it was a Sunni or a Shiite type issue. I don't know what rubbed him the wrong way about everybody else but Iran. He was a sympathizer.
Yeah.
He had his carpet. His 5 o'clock Mecca prayer was up and at him.
Yeah.
And he looked far east, but all he could see was red unless it was Iran. And he wanted Iran to be the equalizer, to be the one that ruled the Middle East. And he did everything he can, including that piece of garbage
the Iran deal. Yeah.
Terrible.
It empowered Iran to, to the point where we had to take action a few months ago. That whole process came out of our money from the Obama administration funding Iran.
It did.
And it was unnecessary, and it didn't have to happen.
And here's another example. I don't know how expensive it is a B-2. Louis, you know how expensive it is to run a B-2 bomber? No, he doesn't know. To drop that super bunker buster bomb, think about the cost.
Total cost, yeah.
Okay, the prepping, the delivery, the aftermath. I read it was $1 billion.
I read that too. I was going to say $1 billion.
Yeah, I read it was $1 billion. Thank you, Mr. Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Barry, what was his name?
Barack Hussein.
Yeah,
Obama.
but what was his real name? Barry Serrano?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's his real name. Yeah,
Barry
Barack
Serrano.
Obama is his Muslim.
How did I not know? I've been in politics this whole time. I didn't know that.
It's Barry.
Okay.
Let's look it up while you're over there. That's our producer.
Yeah.
Look it up, and it's like Barry Serrano or something.
Okay.
Yeah, that's his real name.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Well, the whole birth certificate thing.
Oh God, no, that's all fake anyway. I'm calling the administration. Louis, get Trump on the line.
See the real,
because he knows the deal.
We want to see the real birth certificate.
Get DJT on the line right now, because we know that birth certificate is nothing more than baloney hocus mocus pocus. That's what it is. That guy wasn't born here any more than anybody else. That who was the other guy that came out really swinging on that? It was on that birth certificate back in the day. Who was Alex Jones.
Alex Jones. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He had given examples of if you think he was born in America, then this guy and this. I'm like, those guys were definitely not. I mean, Muammar Gaddafi or something.
Yeah.
He was talking about all these different people.
The long form birth certificate. It's still out there.
Look, I had what was the guy? Not Sean Ryan, that guy, the podcaster in Franklin, but there was another guy that did a show, and he tore that thing up in a technical DNA way.
Really?
Yeah, he proved that was a fake certificate made to look good from the CIA or something. And for all these people out there, all you hoaxers and all that, that it was it was definitely in his opinion a fake certificate. And he did all this scientific testing on something. And and then he went to like the hospital. He interviewed people, and they're like, he was never born here. He had the college admissions for Harvard. Foreign student. That's how he got the foreign student aid to pay for his Harvard college.
So, we think the whole media infrastructure did not take the time to look through all that.
I think they did, but the way Barack was approaching it certainly had the CIA by protecting him.
Interesting.
Was enough to say, look, if you can protect the killers of JFK, I can protect you and your silly birth certificate, which is fake.
Okay.
Think about that. Think about the power of the intelligence community, like Schumer said.
Yeah.
Remember when Schumer threatened?
Oh, yeah.
On CNN, he was trying to tell
Trump.
President Trump in term one,
Yep.
be careful. The intelligence community knows a lot of things, and we are here to do things. And I was like, man, you threatened the president. Remember he threatened the Supreme Court.
Absolutely.
I'm like, what world are you living in, dude? And
one that he's losing in now.
Well, he's losing that. And I'll tell you what, this shutdown, I'm going to jump here.
Yeah.
This shutdown, a big reason my sources are, and certainly you say yay or nay on this one, is AOC running in the primary, and it would have booted him out. She would have gotten it.
I've heard very similar stories to that effect. I was talking with a friend of mine over the weekend in Washington circles, and folks are getting really tired of getting constituent calls saying like, "Hey, we need to reopen the government." I think some folks are wondering like, "Why do we keep voting this down?"
Yeah.
Schumer is hearing footsteps from his left, and it's not only he's worried about a primary challenge, but he's worried about staying in charge of the Senate. I mean, what was it about Bob Dole said about Schumer? The most dangerous place in Washington is being between Chuck Schumer and a microphone. Mm-hmm. He wants to. He worked hard to be where he is.
He did,
and
he's gotten rich for it too.
He has. And so it seems very likely that a lot of this is the left has been calling for him. They want a win. And so he's listening and being driven by the hard left here. And, it's unnecessary. We're at 2 weeks of this, and it's...
Has it been 2 weeks already?
Mm-hmm.
Man, 2 weeks. Okay, so if it continues to go on 36 days, something
it's a long,
is that the record? Or
I think it's the record,
is that the record?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So...
Okay. We'll see.
We're halfway there.
Was that Bill Clinton
and the new one? I think. I don't know.
I think
we'll have to fact check me on that.
You got to fact check us. I think it was Bill Clinton holding out when Newt, and they both finally realized neither one was going to win, so they got together. And they actually had a budget surplus. 95 or 96. Maybe? I think
it was 95.
95.
Because it was right after the contract with America. Or maybe actually it was 96. I think I remember 96. I think there was enough time for them to be in their second year of the House.
Okay.
And they were fighting over. I remember. Was it 98?
I don't remember, but it was.
I think it was 98.
95 to 96, Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
21 days.
21 days was the longest.
Was the second longest.
Second
what was the longest?
36.
What was the longest shutdown? Because I know Barack Obama did it on the ACA Affordable Care Act for 17, and the Republicans caved in on that.
Yep.
That was a huge mistake.
And it seems like Trump's not caving on this one.
He doesn't need to. Let me tell you something. The polls are clear.
Yeah.
He is going to win the opinion vote on this shutdown. The opinion vote being, are you in the right? What are the opinions of the United States citizens, of the people?
Yep.
And I can tell you this, from what I'm seeing, and I don't have any reason to doubt these numbers, and certainly on X, it's been coming very, very clear that the even, I don't want to say the far left, that's not true, but even those slightly center or center leftish people are in Trump's camp.
Yep.
100%.
Yep.
If I had to make a guess of 1,000 people polled, 50-50 Republican Democrat, I think some Democrats may actually be on the Republican side.
I agree.
I don't think they like it.
A couple of reasons for that. One, the media landscape's changed dramatically. Yeah. So whatever's been reported on CNN and even Fox to a certain degree isn't the same as what it was 10 years ago. No. Fine. Secondly, Trump is such a phenomenon to himself. He can really kind of shape narrative in a way that no politician is, definitely since Reagan, but probably even stronger than Reagan. I mean, he's just such a unique force, for good and bad sometimes. But I mean, either way, I mean, it's remarkable to see. So I mean, the media concept of it, I'm not seeing people caring about it.
No.
Like nobody I'm hearing is talking about it. And now as people miss paychecks and there's like a broader sense of maybe economic harm on it, we'll see. But right now that hasn't materialized. And I think there's also, again, as a small C conservative, President Trump and Russ Vought talking about using this opportunity to cut government and cut like these non-essential jobs. I'm like, great, go forth and do it. Please cut 80% while you're there.
I know. And they are. How's that IRS working out?
I mean, that's what I voted for. That's what the meme is on Twitter right now. I voted for this. So Trump's winning.
Creating the conclusion to the promises of Trump.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. Did you hear about they're going to make a movie about this?
The shutdown?
Yes.
No.
Yeah, Trump's going to be the lead star. It's called Make My Day. Clint Eastwood's producing it and directing it. Make My Day. Shut down Schumer.
I remember President Trump. Everyone associates fake news with President Trump now, but Hillary Clinton's the first one that said that in 2016 race. She was calling stuff fake news because she was trying to attack Donald Trump. Yeah. He took that phrase from her and basically made it his own. And now it's like his, the gif of your fake news was fantastic. Yeah. Trump has, he's doing this again. He took what the Democrats were trying to do with the shutdown that they thought were going to be a political liability for Trump, and he's making it into a win for himself domestically. It's incredible.
He's killing it.
It's incredible.
He's killing it. I can't wait for the film to come out. We're going to take a quick break.
Yeah.
And then we're going to come back to Make My Day, starring Donald J. Trump as the leader of the free world, and Chuck Schumer is going to be one of the bad guys he's going to have to take care of. So we'll be right back in about 60 seconds.
The Hard Asset Money Show will be right back after a word from our sponsor. In uncertain times, the smartest money doesn't sit in the stock market, it holds weight. The price of gold has risen from $1,700 an ounce in 2020 to over $3,800 by late 2025. Silver is currently around $46 an ounce, a 155% increase from roughly $18 5 years ago. Follow on X at BMC_HAM for all news and the latest developments.
Okay, welcome back. Here we go. We're talking with the guy, the walker.
Walk in.
Oh, that's right. Christopher Walken is joining us. Loved you in those Bond films and all of those other crazy films.
The watch, this gold watch.
This gold watch.
That's
right. I had to put it up, remember?
I wasn't going to say that part, but
this gold watch.
This is your father's watch. Yes. He wanted you to have this watch.
Yes, that's right. Remember Bruce Willis was
of
in
course.
That? It was Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction, yeah.
Pulp Fiction.
And it was a direct-to-camera shot of Christopher Walken saying that whole story. Not a single minute off of him. I think it was like a 3-minute monologue. Yeah, right. And Tarantino's the best. Perfect. We could talk about Tarantino for hours.
That next show. He's a good actor and a good director.
Best.
Both. He's both. He's been in a lot of his films. Okay, so we got school 35 days, first term, longest over the border wall. And so this goes 36 days, we'll hit another record. I mean, look, Trump's going to make records.
That's right.
He's all about making a record. And so if you're going to do it, man, do it right. We're shut down 30 guys. We got to go 36 on this one. Come on.
He doesn't do small.
No, he doesn't do small.
He doesn't do small.
That wall's getting built.
That's right.
Big and tall.
We were talking about the Rose Garden earlier. I mean, he paved it. He leaving a mark. There's this monument that he's talking about doing the Arc de Triomphe. It's like it was a great idea. Awesome. Let's do it.
Celebrate it.
250th anniversary. It's fantastic.
And that would bring me to another topic about what the Jefferson, Washington, Adams, Monroe, they all said. If it goes past 200, in the form of government that we've established with the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, we've accomplished something that has never been done before.
Interesting.
And that's what they said. And 200 plus years was the record.
What's the Roman Empire?
3 times. 200 falls. It was a republic.
Okay.
An empire and a republic.
Right. Each 200.
Years. Yeah.
So the Visigoths were the third and final.
They were. That's where now you have the Roman Catholic Church and Rome itself and the Vatican.
Right. Okay. That was 200 years. So I guess I'm piecing them together in one total time, but that's interesting.
600 years. And I think Constantine II Constantinople. Was it Constantine II?
I don't know.
Met Christ.
I don't know.
Saw the vision of
my
Christ.
Roman emperor knowledge is light.
Yeah, it was Constantinople. But I think it was either Constantine I or Constantine II that had the occurrence with Jesus and started the whole church, and the Pope was basically branded as the head of the church, which was the Caesar, and then here we go.
Yeah.
Down the road.
Okay. All right. Well, 250.
Many moons ago. But I think that the shutdown is going to be longer.
Yep.
Not
I think you're right.
36, but it's going to be longer than the 2 weeks. Again, this is just hypothetically here. I don't think the Democrats can afford to lose the shutdown. I don't think they can afford to lose it, which leads me to another question. Aren't they realizing it's not working in their favor? By public opinion, it's not working in their favor. As of right now. Now, maybe 2 weeks from now, short-term memories. Remember, the Hebrews witnessed God's great miracles and the wrath on Pharaoh to leave Egypt, and 3 weeks later, they're worshiping a golden calf, even though they knew Moses went into the high hills and, hey, I'm bringing back these really cool tablets. You're going to love it.
Yeah.
You probably can't read them, but I'll explain to you what they mean. But they're already worshiping 3 weeks after seeing and believing. So how quickly can the short-term memories be on this thing?
Well, it depends on if there's a recognition of the 2025 media landscape that exists now. I think a lot of Democrats think and continue to think that they are in charge of the institutions. Higher ed, media, across the board. They've generally had a fairly easy time being able to shape narratives. Hollywood and everything else on top of that. That's changing quickly with podcasts and just the digital reformation that Elon kind of brought along in 2022 when he bought Twitter is continuing to, create an environment where those advantages are disappearing.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't know if they're fully able to understand the 2025 media landscape enough to know that they are losing it a little bit more than they think they are. Can they shape a narrative that wins? Maybe. There's things that they can do. They still have plenty of tools at their disposal. They've got a huge network of media that's at their disposal to try to work on. But so far, it hasn't gone in their favor yet. But let's also not forget, most of these legacy media folks hate Trump, and they're going to try to figure out a way to blame him for something.
Like him.
Right?
Even if he was to give them free money, they don't like him.
He was one of them. And,
he was.
You know, I think that's even part of the problem. Like, he was a New York media guy, and kind of leaving that for, you know, a center-right conservative landscape with the Republican Party, I think a lot of people just won't forgive him for that.
Well,
So
Whoopi Goldberg certainly will not.
Right. Well,
She loved him when he was talking to her as a Democrat.
yeah.
The second he had a different opinion, he was a racist, a bad guy, a guy that colluded with Russia. He was a womanizer.
Yeah.
He was things of which you know that is not true.
Yeah.
Just because you believe in a little bit more conservative policy, it doesn't mean that you hate other things. It doesn't mean you hate people or this or that. You just tend to side on more like conservative fiscal policy.
Yep.
What's wrong with that?
That's right.
If you only spend at a minimum what you make, and you don't go over that, that's conservative to me. That's a conservative policy. I'm not spending more. So by definition, you're a conservative.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a business principle, right?
It's a
spend
business principle.
spend less than you have. You know, than you're making. That's profit. That's great.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So speaking of which, so the shutdown's costing us a ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
A ton of money.
Yeah.
And spending what you don't have may be
It's
not,
accumulating.
Yeah,
Yep.
So what do we do now with the people not getting their paychecks?
Yeah.
That's what I'm wondering. It's the short-term memory problem. The issue with what's going to happen when it goes 30 days, because over 65%, give or take, of America lives paycheck to paycheck. Now, in that scenario, you know there's federal workers.
I was going to say, how many of that percentage is federal workers?
And think about where it trickles down to.
Well, and you know, my friends in the federal government, they're not worried because they know that they're going to get the back pay. If it was a situation where they weren't going to get paid at all based on the shutdown, that would be like just lost revenue.
Scary.
But they're just being delayed.
I know.
So that's part of the reason why I find these shutdowns to be really kind of ridiculous. Because for the longest time, it was just basically a show, but all the money was still being spent at the rate that it was going to be appropriated anyway. You know, this is different because there's layoffs associated with it. Right. And so a lot of these federal positions are being eliminated. And so that is going to have an impact. I don't know how many. We're talking about tens of thousands of jobs right now, mostly in the Virginia, D.C. area.
Yeah.
Okay, like that's going to have an impact. What happens with Winsome Sears' race in Virginia in a couple weeks if the shutdown continues, right? I mean, there's governor's race. Northern Virginia could be very angry. Yeah. That's going to be an interesting piece of that. She's been surging and is tied right now, but let's not forget, Virginia was a red state until the growth of the federal government, 25 years ago. And so now it's purple and blue because of Northern Virginia. Yeah. All those workers, if they're displaced or going somewhere else or having to kind of go on unemployment, that's a whole other scenario for the long-term thing. I think it's bad for the economy, but I think our economy is pretty resilient. You know this better than I do, but my sense is the economy can take a punch like this. Mm-hmm. I think the long-term tariff fight has been worse, but hopefully this comes to a resolution because again, that money's going to be kind of back paid for most of these folks. So how many jobs are we talking about that actually get eliminated that are the real problem? That's to me what's interesting.
Well, I bet those IRS jobs are going to become permanent that he's canceling.
Hopefully. That's great.
I think that's a big thing he's trying to do right now.
Well, let's get to a national sales tax or, what was it? What Huckabee was going for? Was it just a flat tax, I guess? But yeah, I'm all for a national sales tax. I think the income tax is unconstitutional anyway.
I do too. I think it's been that way from 1913.
Yeah.
I don't find anybody that can find the constitutionality of an income tax.
Agreed.
It's just they're saying, well, the courts have affirmed it.
Yeah. Oh, well, great. Yeah.
And they've been wrong before.
Right. I mean, courts also said Roe v. Wade for a long time, and that got overturned. Like you can always fight a court proceeding again.
Yeah. You can.
If you have somebody with resources and time and attention, you can accomplish a lot. So
resources being the biggest.
Well,
that does help. So, tell me about 26 and 28. What's your opinion? And who's who in the zoo on the 28 ticket for both parties?
Well, we're so early on that.
I know, but you can make an analysis here. You're smart.
I can.
You know people.
I can. Oh well, I don't know that many people. No, I'm kidding. Well, I'm just trying to dodge. If you can't tell, I'm trying to dodge the question.
Weaving. I saw the head go this way, this way, this way, this way.
26. I'm worried. I'm worried about the House.
How many seats do you think?
Well, the things happening in Texas is helpful with those 5 that we're picking up, but I know California is working on something to try to negate those 5. I mean, we're talking about 25 seats that are going to make or break the House. That's tough.
That's too many.
Well, talk about too many. I think we should be expanding the House, but that's a whole other conversation. I think, what are the issues going to be? If the economy is in turmoil next year, Katie, bar the door. It doesn't matter any other type of political tools that we have in our toolbox. If the economy is in bad shape next year, it's going to be a bad year for Republicans.
Yeah,
I don't want that to be the case. No. I would work hard to try not that to have be the case, but I don't think there's anybody that can tell you with a straight face that if there are very negative economic wins, it's going to be very, very poor outcome for the Republicans, I think. And I think that's going to apply to the Senate, too. I mean, we've got tight races in North Carolina. We've got tight races in Georgia, Michigan, Maine. Janet Mills just announced against Susan Collins in Maine. We've got a good majority, but, there's a lot of seats that we're defending that are going to be difficult. So Michael Whatley's going to have a tight race in North Carolina. Governor Cooper has outraised him right now. I think that'll catch up with outside group money and other things, but... North Carolina is a purplish state still. Yeah. Georgia is bluish purple right now in the Senate, at least. We've got to figure out who our nominee is going to be, but there's a lot of Georgia's just a weird situation right now. We just can't seem to get past ourselves in Georgia on the Senate side.
Yeah, we can we give a Republican governor two far-leaning Democrats on the Senate side, but we do have some Republican House members from Georgia.
Yeah, well, we've had some bad candidates in the Senate, unfortunately.
Well,
a little
Herschel
bit.
Walker. Okay, let's take Herschel Walker.
Not a good candidate.
I know. Why? Why do you think so?
When you're talking about the personal issues, and that is the defining issue of your race, you're not winning suburban Atlanta. Yeah. And that was as simple as that. I also think, we're seeing it in Alabama with Tommy Tuberville. I mean, he's going to win in a walk for governor. So, I mean, sports can be a good background for you, but you've got to convince people why you're going to be there. And just, hey, I won the Heisman Trophy in 1980 isn't enough. But that's really what it was. I mean, the entire conversation in Georgia was about the flaws. And, everyone has faults, everyone has flaws, but when that's all you're talking about, it just becomes very difficult to have a policy discussion on how to beat Raphael Warnock. Ossoff, in Georgia, everyone I talk to down there, they tell me, he's done a really good job at constituent service. He's done a really good job at kind of presenting himself as a moderate, even though he's probably not. No. But people down there are liking him. And so anybody that's not a partisan fighter probably has a decent opinion of him. So then we have a primary. We'll see how that shakes out. I'm a Tennessee fan, so Derek Dooley was a former Tennessee football coach, and he was not a very good one. So I'm hopeful that he can have a better campaign. But either way, there's a lot happening in the Senate. All that to say, it's a macro answer for your 26 question. I'm worried about it. I'm worried about the House, and I don't think we lose the Senate, but I think we lose several Senate seats. That makes it even more difficult to pass things that we need to. So
I think we'll lose one or two.
Yeah.
And I tell you this, I know Ted Cruz is not coming on cycle right now, but there's numbers
Well, Texas, we have a choice, right? Yeah. We have Ken Paxton or John Cornyn. John Cornyn wins that race in a walk. Ken Paxton makes it competitive.
Yeah.
So Texas is one of those states where, the primary matters.
And nobody votes the primary. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What is it, 1 out of 10
registered
voters votes the primary?
What is it, 4 out of 10 in a general, in a midterm.
That's
that's
should be 7 or 8 out of 10 should be.
Yeah.
I mean,
So, that's why get out the vote is so important. Registering to vote is important. And, these groups that are working on that, it's critical. We have to do that.
So let's take 28. So JD and Rubio. So Vance and Marco Polo Rubio.
Oh, you think that's the ticket?
No, but it's going to be one of those two.
I think so. I hope so.
I mean, the praise that Rubio's getting from Trump just in the last 24 hours is pretty impressive. One of the best secretaries of state. Which
most consequential.
Yeah, and I can't disagree because there's been nothing negative. if anything that had been shown as a flaw, they've always tried to bring your flaws out. The other
That's
side
right.
will bring those flaws out.
That's right.
They're like, look, you got that wrinkle. Where? It's right there by your ear. Where? That little tiny thing right there. They'll find it. They'll go right down to it.
That's right.
Rubio has been pretty good.
And he's been in the Senate since 2010, I think. So he's been around a long time now and has kind of really seasoned, really well.
Yeah.
I mean, just the experience level that he has, it's really super impressive. I like Marco a lot. I think he would probably be my preference in that too right now, just being candid. I think JD does a lot of great things, but I like what Marco's been doing overall a little bit more. But I probably should not be saying that on camera, but sorry, Mr. Vice President, but plenty of time to win over this one vote. But I think Rubio has impressed me tremendously throughout his career. Taking on the establishment of Florida and winning, because everyone forgets the NRSC had endorsed Charlie Crist in that race in 2010, and so he kind of a lot of people probably sat him down and said, "You're not going to win. Don't do this race. Like, wait for your turn." And he didn't, and he won. And he's persisted and grown and has become, a true conservative leader in a way that I think's been really impressive. Sure. And I think he's been awesome.
Okay, so that goes back to the original question. So Rubio might get the ticket. JD, maybe they'll be on the same.
They could be. They very well could be.
But I can tell you this, no matter what happens, if the popularity of Ocasio, if she continues to grow, and she is, and this is some numbers that I've been working on here and looking up, she is big time. Her and Bernie Sanders love Mamdani, the candidate for mayor, and in New York. And the socialists and communists, let me just say this, Cato Institute back in late May this year came out with a really revealing survey on the different demographics. Then it went from 18 to I don't know, in the mid 60s maybe.
Yeah.
As far as age group, it was very, very well organized how they came up with the questions to get some really definitive answers.
Yep.
And I've shared this with you, and you know this. I'm sure you know where I'm going to go with this. But and then I'll beg the question about AOC. She'll be part of this. Okay, of the 18 to 29, about 15 or 16 years ago when first asked, I mean, these were low double-digit numbers for socialism and communism, low combined, which by all measures, socialism and communism isn't far apart. Right. One gives you a little bit of wealth creation, a little bit of wealth preservation, and at least you have something. The other one is pretty much doesn't annihilate it, but it gives you less. Because look at China, you can get rich under communism. Yeah. It's a kind of a quasi-capitalist communist. Communist by govern, but allowed to have some capitalist success.
Does China have the most billionaires right now? Did I read that somewhere?
That's a good question. Lewis, look that up while we're talking.
Yeah.
So think about this for a second. So the distinction between socialism and communism, in my opinion, is not far. It's not like capitalism and socialism is a distance of miles.
That's right.
It's miles. Free markets versus government intervention, government regulatory. I mean, you're talking about an environment that just stifles business success, stifles it, kills it. Yep. So they're far apart, capitalism and socialism. But socialism and communism is just right there. You can almost feel the same texture. You can almost smell the scent. It's very
they're
eerie.
1 and 1A. Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
So the percentages in 2010 or 2011, because Cato had a couple different years and I kind of showed the progression, we're talking like 12, 13% on the socialists, 5 or 6% on the communists 15, 16 years ago. Today, in my opinion, is they really are about the same. But let's just say the people polled were still showing some kind of a difference, a relatively safe place or safe distance to be able to call them separately. 62% socialism, 18 to 29, regardless of party affiliation, regardless of religion. In fact, they didn't even ask those things. They just said, what do you think, how you're going to vote from this point forward? Okay? 62 socialism, 34 communism. That left 6% in capitalism. Period. And the scary part is, we've been doing some due diligence on the growth of Islam and the Muslim religion in America. And by 26, there'll be about probably 8 million Muslims eligible to vote. And with Mamdani winning and this other fellow, I can't pronounce this guy's name, the mayor candidate in Minneapolis, that's whatever, Somalian guy.
Yep. I don't know his name either. I can't remember.
It doesn't matter anyway. But he probably could win. I mean, he's in the backyard of Omar, and it might even be her brother. Who knows?
Minnesota was the only state to vote for Mondale to this day. Yeah, so, anything's possible in Minnesota.
You got the one state. You got that one.
Jesse Ventura, anything's possible in Minnesota.
Anything's possible. WWE governor. So the question is, you have 8 Muslims that would, from now and by the time 26, there'll be 18. By the time 28 rolls around, there could be as many as 12 million eligible. My hearing is that with Mamdani winning New York, which I think he's going to pull it off over Cuomo,
I think so.
Then you're talking about a platform that they're going to build on. They're going to build on this platform. Okay, this socialist, Democrat, socialist.
It's where the energy is.
It is. It's where the energy. It's where the young people find themselves. 12% of people 30 and under are going into home ownership versus 53% just 40 years ago.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. I don't have. I want. Who has what I want? Well, that guy has what I want, so I'll take portions of what he has so I can have what he's got. So that is socialism.
Yep.
That's just what it is.
That's right.
So if he wins, Mamdani wins, my prediction is it's going to be a bigger, tighter race than in any time in history, and the House will fall in 26, if it is by 1 or 2, if the candidates are out there, which I think they'll put them in place if they haven't already. And then in 28, it is going to be a neck-and-neck race. So AOC is going to be on the ticket. She's so popular in New York, which can carry through the entire Democratic Party now, which is really socialist and atheist. At the end of the day, it's socialist and atheist. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So you think about that, and she's on that ticket as VP. You've got three notches: female, Latino, socialist, and then you got all these little subcategories that you can
young,
go into. Young, pretty.
Yeah.
Was a bartender. People can relate to that.
Yeah.
The working class, that kind of thing. But here's the big one. She's endorsing Mamdani.
Yeah.
That's going to make her attractive to 8 to 12 million people that have never voted before, who it should become eligible to vote. Now, they may not all vote, but there's 3 million Muslims in New York.
Yeah.
3 million. By that number, he's going to win.
That's interesting. Well, we're looking at a generational shift that's happening, right? It's going to happen quickly. Yeah. And one, shame on our education system for getting to the point where that is the numbers that we're seeing from a ratio standpoint. We're at 250. I would like it to get to 300. And with those numbers, that worries me a little bit. Capitalism is the reason for this success rate, and we need to keep it, we need to protect it. Reagan, I'm a big Reaganite in the sense of saying, freedom is one generation away from extinction. I don't want to see that in my lifetime. And so, I think we have a lot of education to do here with folks who are yearning towards that. I think one of AOC's strengths is that she's constantly underestimated.
Yes.
She was underestimated in her first race. She was underestimated as a freshman member of the House. She's being underestimated now. Everyone kind of points to her as a lightweight or a, intellectual, non-factor, but
she's a big factor.
She's a huge factor. And when Tim Burchett, our congressman here in Tennessee, the 2nd District, and AOC are friends, legit friends, okay, I'm listening to that and I'm trying to figure out, okay, where is somebody who's so diametrically opposed on issues still finding friendship, right? That means AOC's pretty good, and so is Tim Burchett in terms of building relationships and having the ability to have somebody that disagrees with you come away liking you.
Yes.
And AOC's good at that, and so that's going to be a tough challenge. Is she at the top of the ticket or maybe the 2? I think she'd probably be the 2. Maybe someone like Gavin Newsom is the 1 for the 28 ticket for them. I could see that. I know California's a mess, and they're getting messier by the day. He's taken some moderate positions, trying to position himself a little bit more. I don't see Pritzker. I don't see Shapiro in Pennsylvania. I just, everything I hear about Newsom is, and I've met him a couple times, but everything I hear about Newsom is just, everyone thinks he's too slick. But the man has been the governor of the most populous state in the country now, got reelected pretty overwhelmingly. And I mean, he's very impressive from afar. Digging into his positions, me as someone who is pretty much opposed to everything he believes in, and looking at what he did, the French Laundry and other things during COVID, there's a hypocritical element to him as well. But I think Gavin Newsom's going to be formidable. And a Gavin Newsom AOC ticket, a New York, California ticket, I don't know if that's ever happened before. An interesting, kind of potential there.
But if it does happen, because remember, Bernie Sanders is still widely popular with the young people.
Yeah.
Widely popular. And how many more voters are coming into play in 26, 28 that would be within that 18 to 30 socialist, communist age bucket? And the numbers are looking like there's going to be more women registered voters that will vote in 28 than any time in history. It may be a 65-35. And that blend, women are going to side more with the AOCs because they love childcare. They love entitlements. They love being taken care of. And so what I'm saying is that if anybody thinks that JD is a slam dunk, remember who got sworn in regardless of how we got there in 2020. In January 21, who got sworn into that White House?
That's right.
Now, I don't think you need to cheat your way.
81 million votes, Christian. 81 million votes.
81 million votes, you bet. And 17 million of them, they still can't figure out who those people were. All have the same name, same social security number. So with that said, I am going to go on the record and say if we see 28 and we see AOC, and Gavin is my first pick today. Now that can certainly change, but AOC I think is going to be a staple on that ticket unless she does something really crazy. I want to make sure I put the in there. But I don't think that she is being respected enough for
I agree.
her great popularity, and she has a huge following. The person that knows how big she really is, there's one person. You know who that is? Chuck Schumer.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say Bernie Sanders, but yeah.
He shut the government down because of her.
Yeah.
He knows we can't afford $1.5 trillion. Who the hell is going to?
Yeah.
Who is going to give you $1.5 trillion spending spree on illegals when it's against the law, against the Constitution, against your oath of office? It's a bigger problem here for Chuck. Chuck doesn't want to retire.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to go.
He's worked hard for that.
He's worked hard for that chair, that gavel, that. He doesn't want to go home and watch reruns of Gilligan's Island. He doesn't want to have to go and talk to the local deli owners.
Yeah.
He wants to stay in power. He wants to be who he is and who he likes, who he identifies with. And right now he identifies as Shut Down Chuck.
That's right.
Shut Down Chuck.
I mean, again, Trump, that takes the ability to take something that people would think that he's losing and turn it around. It's amazing. It's amazing.
I know. So, with that said, okay, there we go. So if anybody tune in now, you'll have all the world's advice solved every hour of the day when you tune in with Christopher Walken.
This watch was special. Your father wanted you to have this watch.
You know what I did? Woo! Right up somewhere. Right up the watermelon. All right, with that said, thanks for joining us. Enjoy the show. The shutdown is a couple weeks, and I think it's gonna last a little bit longer.
I think you're right.
I do.
I
don't think that either side wants to admit they're both right. That's what they don't want to admit. We're both right. He's wrong.
Oh,
I'm
interesting.
right.
I would have gone the other way. I think they're both wrong.
No. They both are right in their minds.
Well, okay.
They're both right. They don't want to admit it.
I think outside the Beltway, people think they're both wrong, though.
Oh, I know that.
That's what's interesting.
I know that.
So, yeah.
Well, some people think Trump's within his rights on this one.
I think it's a congressional problem. Ironically, I think Trump is somewhat removed from it, even though he's in power. But everyone's looking at both sides of Congress and being like, "This is Clown Town."
Yeah, but like I said, they're both right.
Yeah,
and they're going to keep telling everybody that we're both right, but they're really not right. But they're going to still admit I'm right.
Yeah,
that's the perception to create a reality.
That's correct.
Disposition of belief, it's called.
You know what? I think you're right in saying that they're right.
I am right, and I'm going to admit the fact I'm right. I'm going to tell you, I admit that I am right. How's that?
That's
all right,
perfect. You could be a politician.
All right. I want to thank the Academy. I want to thank all of my producers and my constituents for voting me in. I'm love being mayor of this 7-person town with 3 horses and a saloon. Thank you very little. We'll be back. Next show will be on whatever it's on. I know I'm going to be right about that.
I agree with you on that.
All right. Take care. Ciao.
Gold has more than doubled in just 5 years, rising from $1,700 an ounce in 2020 to over $3,800 an ounce by September 2025. That's a 124% gain, outperforming the market and proving why gold is the ultimate long-term hedge. As global debt soars and currencies weaken, central banks are hoarding gold at record pace. Why aren't you? Call 844-426-4653 or visit bmcham.com. Protect your future with real assets. Own gold now. Follow on X at BMC_HAM for all news and the latest developments.